Separated by cosmic cabinets, Brandon, Paul, and Logan are broadcasting the Breakdown Podcast live using their telepathic powers. My name is Brandon Miracle, broadcasting live from the Break Room Arcade. If you look south of me in the video version, you'll see the wonderful and beautiful face of Paul Anderson, broadcasting live from the Break Room Clubhouse. If you look to the right of me in the video version, you'll see the wonderful and beautiful face of Logan Welliver, broadcasting live from the Break Room Bedroom. Today's episode of the Breakdown Podcast is recorded live on July 9th, 2018. We got a lot to talk about today. I went out to see Ant-Man and the Wasp. Paul decided it would be a good idea to watch Love, Simon a second time. He's not wrong. And Logan has been dabbling in a lot of TV, it looks like.
A lot of HBO. A lot of HBO. Gotta get all the use out of that 7-day free trial that I can.
I'd say you probably did.
Those 3 seasons of 3 separate shows. Yeah, I dirt cheap. I didn't pay a thing. That's good stuff.
Very nice.
Other than that I had an Amazon Prime subscription, right?
So, really quick, if you're a patron, you've got a duty.
Duty.
If you're at the 5-level tier or higher, you can suggest podcast topics for the Breakdown Podcast. We will do a podcast for patrons once a month at the end of the month, every month. So make sure you're giving us your Discord or your suggestions either in our Discord or as a comment to those posts on Patreon itself. Our 2 patrons have already done that this month, so we're in good shape. We'll let you know what the show will be about and when that episode will be live. So thank you for doing that, and thank you for your support. If you want to help support us here on Patreon, you can find a link to that in the description on the YouTube, or it's just patreon.com/thebreakroom-arcade. So you can find us all over the internet, social media. Let's get in today's episode. Movies and TV for this last week. For those of you who are Marvel Cinematic Universe fans, you would know that Ant-Man and the Wasp just came out over the weekend. So in preparation for that, I went to Walmart and I bought Ant-Man, and I went home with 3 Blu-rays instead of the one I went for. So, that's what happens.
It's normal for you, right?
Yeah, I came home.
That's every day.
I came home with Baby Driver, and Michaela wants to see the sequel to Mamma Mia, so I picked up the Blu-ray for the first one.
And the third one is Ant-Man. You did actually leave with Ant-Man at least,
I did buy Ant-Man. That
happened.
It'd
be amazing if you went to buy Ant-Man and you left with 3 Blu-rays, none of which were Ant-Man.
Okay, side note, I still haven't seen Baby Driver, which is, I think it's more of a sin that I haven't seen Baby Driver than other people, because
we'll fix that.
My younger brother, this is like his favorite film. Right, and so we're super tight. So the fact that I haven't seen it, and he said that I need to watch it like a million times, so I think maybe that should be on my list for next week.
Okay.
I mean, if not, I have a copy. Brandon now has a copy. You will eventually see that.
Yeah,
we will not let you get away without seeing it forever.
It's not a matter of accessibility. Like, I go home and my brother Blu-ray, and I've been home, at least a total amount, maybe 2 weeks, in the past. Just this year alone, I've at least been home that long, all scattered about, of course. So I've had chances. I just haven't taken the bite. Usually, because when I'm home, I'm usually in a VR headset. So
that's fair.
It's a good trade-off.
It's a comment on Dream Drop. He says, I want to commend whoever created the intro because it gives me a literal heart attack. It's like the live stream version of kicking down a door. I love it. Logan is responsible for the audio for that.
Yeah, I did. Well, yeah, but it wasn't that hard. It wasn't that hard. All I had to do is Google some sounds. It was really thwomp sounds.
It's the audio version of the Kool-Aid Man.
You just do a little bit of searching. It took no time at all. Then you just got to push some faders and make it sound like it makes sense.
Hey, Logan, can we add the Kool-Aid Man to that?
Oh, yeah.
We know you're kidding. I created the video for that, and Paul created the background that you see in that as well. So we all worked together to make that intro. I'm quite proud of it.
Let's go.
Chill, Logan. I was joking. We're good. Everything's great. You said that the merch link doesn't work. If you're talking about the one,
it wasn't.
What merch link?
In the description of this video.
Is it the Redbubble one?
I think so.
Okay, we'll deal with that. Nobody's ever bought from our Redbubble store. Not even I have. So don't worry about that.
We're gonna figure out merch a little later on. I think we're starting to.
Yeah. Don't worry, things are coming.
Got to do more discussions about that.
As far as Ant-Man is concerned, this is the first time I've rewatched the movie since it premiered in theaters.
Still has Paul Rudd in it.
I have a habit of doing that, where I will not watch a movie again for years. I don't know.
It saves you a lot of money on like the DVD. Because I'm the same way, except I'll actually buy the movie, and then I just will never watch it.
For me,
I have a whole shelf. They're just the movies that I bought after seeing them in theaters and then never watched.
I just buy the movie like when I'm ready to watch it.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, because like with Baby Driver, and I know it was cheap when it came out, but I think I got it for under $10.
That's a good price.
Yeah, I was happy with that. I loved it. You know, I'm a big fan of Paul Rudd. Was glad to get a refresher on that before I went to see the sequel, because it's a great movie. Got to hear it on my sound system. I love just watching Blu-rays on that stuff, because
yeah,
you know, I'll go to the bathroom like while we're watching, and it will just sound like a booming movie theater in my basement. It's a really great experience every single time. So leading into Ant-Man and the Wasp, I saw that Friday night with one of our friends, Dylan. It's interesting. So this is the first movie after Avengers Infinity War. As far as the timeline is concerned, I'll let you guys just watch it. It explains itself pretty well. But this is the first time like we're hanging out with Scott for a while, and Scott has found himself in a predicament since then because of what he did with Team Cap in Captain America Civil War. So we open with the repercussions of his involvement in that, which is something I didn't consider like going into the movie. So that was cool. Oh, I think we lost Logan. And now, this is amazing. Paul, in the video version, the bottom image is just a big old version of your face, and you can't see me anymore. Let me fix that. Boop. I guess, here's what I'm going to guess happened. I'm going to guess that Logan kicked his power strip.
I was just about to say.
Good thing I had a backup, except the names are backwards.
I mean, it keeps rearranging those, so
yeah.
I need to play the video version now to see this, because I really want to know.
Don't worry, I have like a hodgepodge backup plan that I've currently employed.
Okay, if someone doesn't meme that, I will be upset.
Yeah. So overall, I really enjoyed it. I like the direction the movie takes, because I think we're getting them back. Time to switch back over. I'm glad I had that 2-person version of the overlay prepared for situations like this.
Yeah, it was a good call.
Did you kick your power strip?
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. No.
I was gonna say you came back really fast for that.
So I'm not. Actually, I just want to go into this, right? Because this is my podcast too. So I'm not sure exactly what happened, but shortly before the show, I installed the GeForce Experience, which then I was like, hey, you want to install some drivers? Because your drivers need to be up to date. And I go, okay, I guess I'll install these drivers.
Your drivers need to be up to date.
Right. So
thank you, Dream Drop.
I up to date them, and all of a sudden my resolution changes, and like, okay, right now, so I'm like at 900. My screen is 900p, so I've had it set at 900p because that just makes sense. It doesn't make I wasn't trying to like. And right now, it's set to 1080, right? So now some of the text is really small, and
right.
And I like this. I like having more space, but I also don't like it on this monitor because that's not 1080p. But for some reason that screwed with something, and Discord did not like it, and I actually had to I couldn't even refresh it. I just had to kill Discord and then bring it back, and then I killed everything else on my computer. I was like, any of you who are screwing with this, all of you off right now.
We're happy to have you
now
back.
It's just Discord. So,
Well, I'm glad you've returned.
tell me about your weeks.
I was in the middle of talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I'm jealous.
Of Ant-Man
I'm not
and the
gonna get a
Wasp.
chance to go see that like this week, and I don't have time to go this weekend. So I don't know when I'm actually gonna get a chance to go see that.
Well, I would definitely advise that you make time when you can.
I want to. Like, Ant-Man's one of my favorite heroes, man. I gotta. And Paul Rudd.
Yeah, I was about to say Paul Rudd is my favorite.
I loved Ant-Man
MCU
before
character.
Paul Rudd was attached to it. But once you attach him to the character, like, it got twice as good.
He's not my Ant-Man's not my favorite superhero, but Paul Rudd's my favorite character in the MCU.
Paul Rudd's my favorite superhero.
The actual actor, though, not his character.
So it's interesting following up Avengers Infinity War with this film because holy tonal shift. You go from dark and dire to hilarity. And the stakes are not like world breaking. The adventure that Scott Lang goes on is very much a personal one. And
Who's Scott Lang?
Ant-Man.
Paul Rudd.
No, that's Paul Rudd.
Okay, the adventure Paul Rudd goes on is very much a personal journey and a personal adventure. So it's a lot different from Infinity War because the stakes are not worldwide. The stakes are literally only for him and his group that he's with.
I mean, let me ask you this. Just don't even like answer it out loud so that people listening can't be spoiled, but like blink twice if he finds Jesus.
Yeah, it's a very spiritual journey for Ant-Man. No. Some great characters. Not a lot of introductions for characters. You're very much dealing with the same pool of characters that are introduced in the first film. Just as funny as the first movie, I'd say. One of the things I think was a bit of I don't want to sound negative, but a letdown for me is they don't play with the small as much in this movie. I remembered, I guess I don't have to remember it because I just watched it, but Ant-Man, the first movie, the final act, they just like, they go balls to the wall with the miniature battle at the end of the film. They're fighting on top of a plastic Thomas the Tank Engine that's going around on a toy, trail or a train track. And they'll occasionally like cut out to show you how insignificant the battle is. Like, you'll hear the plastic sound effects of the train rattling and it falls over, and it's really great. But they don't do a lot of that in this movie. There are a couple parts they do that with cars and stuff, and it's fun there. But I wish it would have gone just a little bit further.
I haven't seen it, so I can't like really refute that too much. But I will say that like in the first movie, the only option they had for him was to go small. But since then, he's learned to also grow. So I can kind of see where they have to balance that out more. They can't do just small scale. They have to do more with the scale. Does that make sense?
But the small stuff is the fun part. Like, he's Ant-Man. He's not really big Ant-Man. He's just Ant-Man, right?
Well,
So,
when he goes big, he's not Ant-Man. He's Giant Man.
Yeah, but we already have giant characters, kind of.
Name
have
5.
people who smash stuff. The Hulk is huge.
Mount
He's
Lady does
quite as
not
big
count
as
either.
when he expands, but like objectively, him being small and crawling around in places and falling off of toy trains, that's objectively the best part, right? Not the big stuff, it's the small stuff.
But when here's the thing, when he gets big, everything else shrinks to him.
I will say
respectively,
they do
everything else shrinks around him.
They do play on both ends of the spectrum in terms of his size. There's one scene in particular that was so funny. It might be the best scene in the movie for me, and I'll talk more about that once you guys have had a chance to see it. But oh my goodness, I died in the theater. It was so funny. Giant Man and the Wasp doesn't sound like an appealing movie title anyway.
Also, Ant-Man / Giant Man and the Wasp doesn't work either.
Yeah, it was. My phrasing was the giant Ant-Man.
Also, hi, Snow. So yeah, I mean, it's par for the course as far as MCU movies. Doesn't really do anything groundbreaking, but it's fun.
Did you like it more than the first one?
It's not as good as Ragnarok!
I don't
Not as good as
think I
Ragnarok?
liked it as much as the first one. But that's not to say that I didn't like it. I think I had more fun with the first one because the idea of Ant-Man was so new to me, and they had fun like in the filmmaking process with perspective and stuff that I really enjoyed. So that also might play into that, as I like the small stuff a little bit more from a visual standpoint.
Blink twice if they kill any baby sheep. This is a brighter film already.
Okay.
And I'm here. The first movie upset me because of that. They made it like they just kind of swept it under the rug. They did that, but they went there, man, and I will not forget.
Hey, man, Paul Rudd is beautiful no matter what size. # body positivity.
Yes.
I mean, this is very true. But it's not about being beautiful. Or
Logan just hates
being
giant man.
attractive. What it is about, it's about the comedy and the visual humor and the beautiful idea of just like this little dude running around. He's just really small. He's going like this. I mean, that's funny.
Actually,
Like, if I
for
could
the
just
first
pick around,
time
like,
on
what's
the
not funny about
podcast,
little people?
we have Ant-Man.
So normally I'd save this for the anime segment, but I just slotted it under movies because I
Might
did.
as well.
So as I've been talking my weeb stuff for the last few weeks, I've been watching a lot of Naruto.
My weebs.
My weeb stuff. So I decided to pop in the last Naruto the movie because I had not watched it yet on my 4K speakery setup that I got in my basement, and that is a sound treat for the ears, let me tell you. But also, man, that's a great movie. You know, it comes at the culmination of the Naruto story right at the end after the manga has wrapped up its story. And it's not like a super important story in the timeline as much as it is like this is a story fans have been waiting to hear. So it was very much directed at Kishimoto's fans and fans of Naruto as a whole. And the movie is also pretty self-indulgent. They're like, this is Naruto, and you're going to cry those weepy tears because you've been a fan for so long.
Weepy or weeby?
Yes. I won't talk too much about the plot of the movie. It's just I loved watching it again, and it's nice because I've been watching Boruto at the same time, so now I got Boruto to follow it up. So that's that. Oh
Is it
boy,
gonna make
more
you feel
weeby
some type
stuff.
of way?
It made me. I cried, actually. I wasn't expecting to, but I came out with tears.
I mean, how long has it been since you've seen that movie last?
The last time I saw the movie was before we saw Boruto in theaters.
Was that when you showed it to me?
No, Oh, no, not before we saw it in theaters. I saw it in theaters a second time because it came to Rockford afterwards.
Well, I mean, like, I remember you, like, the first time I watched the last Naruto the movie was with you.
No, I had watched it after that again.
Okay.
Because we watched it at Michaela's house the day before we went to see Boruto at Showplace 16. Because we had Devin with us, and then I think that was the first time he had seen it. So yeah, that's all I've done for movies and TV.
Yay!
Give it to us, Paul.
All right, so I'm gonna start with the stuff that I had watched previously. I had my sister come to visit me, and so I decided to share the joy of Love, Simon with her. And she was like, "It's late. I don't want to watch a movie. I don't think I can stay up for." And then she got too into it to sleep. And so it's a good movie, and it's still good even the second time, even if you had just seen it the first time. With that, I also I was struggling to find something that like I knew she'd enjoy, and then it hit me, Paddington, and so I started having her watch that we didn't finish, but I think we made about halfway through, and I believe she's actually gonna go and finish watching it because it's just surprisingly a delightful movie.
Yeah, that I wish
it's easy to dismiss it as like, oh man, it's such a kid's movie, but it just pulls at the heartstrings.
It's sad that movie just kind of got swept under the rug when it came out stateside. Understandably so, because, you know, It's more of a UK thing.
I mean, what is marmalade even?
It's like orange jam, I think.
Yeah.
I've never had it, and sadly, I won't ever be able to. But
Oh yeah, it took me a second to realize what.
I think you will be able to.
we had homemade marmalade in the fridge, homemade, and I didn't get to have any because apparently whoever made it like loaded it with sugar.
It's okay. Diabetes won't be around forever.
What was
I hope.
Dragon Ball Z and the plan to eradicate diabetes.
Yeah.
So anyway,
My diabetes
good.
manifests as the Hachiyak.
Started
so
a
my
list.
other movies.
Started a list.
Oh, we started a list.
Started a list.
I noticed that Free Fire was on sale for like $6 or $7, and that's been on my list of movies to watch for a long time. So basically, there's an arms deal, and the people selling the guns and the people buying the guns each have a person in their party that had gotten into a fight the night before, which sets off this giant fight with two groups of people all loaded to the teeth with guns. And it doesn't end well. And so I was hoping...
I'm so ashamed. I've been sitting here trying to figure out what Free Fire is, and I saw it in theaters.
I know. I thought you did. But I thought you knew what this movie was.
Oh yeah, I did. I saw it.
No, I don't. I have no idea.
For whatever reason, like I thought this movie would be funnier than it is. I also was only like half paying attention to it when I was watching it, but I think that also kind of speaks on how well it gripped me. Not to say it wasn't a good movie, but
It's really just kind of a slapstick comedy.
there are a lot of really great parts where they're just like arguing in between shooting at each other.
Yeah. So Logan, to set the precedent, almost the entire movie is the firefight.
Oh, so it's like an episode of DBZ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except they're all trapped in a warehouse together, and almost all of them have guns.
Oh no! Do you know what that sounds like? It sounds like
Free Fire with Brie Larson.
No, there was
It would have been great if that was the movie.
It sounds like there was this. I want to say it was either Japanese or Korean film. The Raid. You ever guys seen The Raid?
Yeah,
The
we
Raid
did.
Redemption?
The Raid. Well, I'm pretty sure. Yes. Yes. Yeah, and there was like guns, and there was.
It's a Korean revenge movie, right?
Yeah, and I just
There needs to
remember
be
it
more
being
of
like
those.
in one like big building, and it's just like, it's so good.
I feel like this was even like flatter than that, like contained.
Right.
Because for the most part, they're all probably like within 100 feet of each other.
Yeah, they are very
Right.
close together.
And then there's like a part of it, like a few different points people try and like get further away. It just like the beginning of it and the end of it, I think, were really, really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like how they got into the situation when it first starts and everybody's like slowly taking bullets for the first time. And then it just keeps happening, like they keep getting shot as it goes on.
And there's like a lot of sides to this battle.
Yeah.
It's not a binary fight
and it
by
keeps
any means.
shifting too, like
Like the political side of the situation keeps changing. Yeah, it's a.
I wish it would have gone just a little bit longer after where it actually ended. At the same time, like I felt like it ended in a good spot.
It almost felt like the director of the movie was trying to not overstay his welcome with this silly idea. It's as long as it needs to be. I don't think you could really do this movie again and make it as fun, or I wouldn't say innovative, but just play with the idea.
Yeah.
Just some half-baked idea. They're like, we want to do this. It's not going to be like super deep or anything like that. We just thought it'd be a lot of fun. It only needs to be so long. So, I mean, it's probably not even going to be that expensive to make. But we want to do it, so we're gonna do it.
I want to say like
the
at
entire
one point,
movie's on one location, I think, too.
yeah, Yeah,
shot
because
in
it
a
starts
day.
outside and then it moves inside. Well, technically there was the road too, but I mean for the most part that was like a couple shots.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say at one point too, one of the characters mentions that like the time it'll take for you to bleed out and die is like maybe an hour and a half, and I feel like that's like the length of the movie.
Just
So if it
about.
went on any longer and people were still around, everyone would have died anyway.
Yeah, and it kind of one point the movie kind of, I wouldn't say devolves, but it like morphs into like this stupid, ridiculous, this shouldn't be possible, but it's happening anyway kind of thing.
Well, for me it was like, man, they are still going. How did they not run out of ammunition?
They're still shooting. They ain't dead.
That was the most like impressive thing is like halfway through this movie they've been firing at each other for like an hour and they all started with enough ammunition to still be shooting at each other. How does that work? But anyway, I also I had been told by my sister, and I regret listening to her, that I should watch Kissing Booth. And it's about a kissing booth.
It's about a kissing
There's
booth.
two
Okay.
friends. They're like the school's dance team, and they have a kissing booth as a fundraiser. It's less focused on that as much as it is like their friendship, and it comes into question when it's a platonic friendship, so a boy and a girl, and the girl she has a crush on the dude's brother. And that they have these sets of rules that they can't break for their friendship. Stay out of trouble. One of the rules is, you can't date we can't date within the family. So you can't be in love with my brother. And so it was trying to navigate that, even though she has a crush on him, he has a crush on her, all that good stuff. And it, for whatever reason, I know this is like I think like a teen novel. For whatever reason, I thought it would be a little bit more mature than it was. It felt like kind of juvenile, and so like I was still
Not
able to,
because of the subject matter,
Like
but because
Disney
of how they
Channel's
handled
juvenile?
it.
sort of. It was going in that direction, maybe a little bit more mature than that, but like I expected it to be more dramatic and less like. Even with the drama, it felt like lighthearted and fun. So I don't know. I mean, I didn't not enjoy myself. It just wasn't what I expected or hoped it would be.
Well, we have to live with our mistakes sometimes.
Yeah.
Mistakes. Who's to say watching a movie you didn't enjoy is a mistake?
So you do learn something, but also
No, I would
Not
argue
inherently
that
watching the movie, but maybe that initial decision was probably the mistake.
yeah. I mean, this is one where if it kept going like another 3 or 4 movies, I'd probably come full circle on it and end up loving it.
Oh boy.
I'd have When Calls the Heart. I need to watch more of that. Regardless, I think I was disappointed
Are these all
by Kissing
sister
Booth.
suggestions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, my sister, she loves the Hallmark. She hates like anything like remotely ambiguous in the ending. So like Free Fire, she
Or
would've-
anything with consequence.
Yeah, she just wants to like
Everything's like,
watch a movie and be. And on occasion, I'm cool with that, but like when it's all
Right.
the time, it gets old. And like,
You gotta watch.
you can
some
only
co-
do that. You can only go in that direction so long without like repeating yourself.
Yeah, you gotta have a little variety
Yeah.
and something to think about, right? Sometimes you don't really
Right.
have to think about it. It's more just like, okay, here's that good feeling, and sometimes that good feeling is nice, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what you need, but not always.
But my last movie this week, at Dylan's recommendation, I sat down and watched Wind River.
Good movie.
Oh boy. I did not know much about it going into it. Like I didn't even read the description. And so it was a fun ride. How to describe it? You start off in a Wyoming Indian reservation with Hawkeye, and go figure he's a hunter, right? He kind of maintains the lands, gets rid of like the predators that'll come in, you know, like wolves and crap like that. Kind of keep people safe and more of the livestock. I think he's protecting the livestock. But while he's on duty, he discovers a body up in the mountain. And so, you know, in the investigation process, they call the FBI. I'm sorry, Logan.
I was like, okay, before you continue, I love how you were just like, you're just talking about this movie, and it's like, well, I just, you know, it just felt juvenile. And then the next moment, you're just like, duty.
I never said I wasn't a man-child.
Okay, Ty, I made my observation. You're allowed to continue.
I don't think I can. So he finds the body in the mountain. The FBI gets called in to investigate, and in comes Scarlet Witch. Right, this is the Avengers, and so it's them trying to investigate within an Indian reservation. Scarlet Witch is kind of out of her element. I mean, first off, she's from like southern United States, thrown into like this very cold climate, very unprepared, wasn't really even like expecting to be assigned to this. And so it's a very interesting dynamic. She has to rely a lot on the officer in charge and then also Hawkeye.
Not an Avengers movie.
It's an Avengers movie to me, man. Everything can be an Avengers movie. The cast. But it was an interesting movie. A lot of
For those who are wondering, it's a drama thriller.
It's also on Netflix. What do you got, Brandon?
I saw this in theaters. I think, yeah, it was just a movie I was sitting on because critics were responding well to it, and I was like, might as well see this since it showed up at my theater before I get out. And yeah, it was kind of a surprise to me. It touches also on some real-world subjects when it comes to the treatment of Native American peoples. Yeah, it's a dark subject for sure. I'm not going to give too much away. It's not an action movie. It pretends to be an action movie in its trailers, but it's not. Just know that. It's very rich in its storytelling. Like Paul said, it's in Wyoming, so you're going to see a lot of snow.
I think they also said somewhere that it was based on true events.
It is, yeah. Or it's using fact in its decision-making for the film's plot.
So it's historical fiction.
For the most part. But the historical part of it is accurate in under today's standards. So this is a... So the subject matter it's touching in regards to Native American peoples is currently relevant. So it's a topical movie.
Okay.
First off, the comments. You guys do understand me.
Maybe the real Avengers movie was the friends we made along the way.
Especially that one, but Avengers Finding Avengers: A Space Odyssey, Rogue One, an Avengers story.
Oh my God.
There's someone who gets it.
This always happens. Logan, what do you got?
Well, I didn't watch like hardly any movies this week, but I was talking to you guys, well, HBO trial memberships are a beautiful thing when you can just, there's a few seasons of a few shows that I want to digest, and that's what I did, and I came across, so a few of these shows I had been watching previously, and they came out with a new season, and so I caught up. One of them being Silicon Valley Season 5, which I've talked about it on the breakdown before. It's a really good show. It's a really fun time. Really funny. I constantly am laughing at that show. The tech humor, the awkwardness of the characters. It's all still there. There's all still like super big drama and lots of twists, and it's very entertaining and it's very well written, and it's very, very funny. Please watch Silicon Valley. It's on HBO. Also on HBO, Crashing. stars Pete Holmes, who is a comedian. He plays a fictional version of himself. It's kind of in the same vein of a show like Louie, a semi-autobiographical sitcom about a fictional version of the creator going through life and struggling and then telling jokes along the way. Generally, they're trying to be stand-up comics in the show as well. It's generally the case, and it is the case here as well. Second season came out, and it's very good. It's very good. The premise is Pete, his wife cheats on him.
No.
Yeah, I know. And they were in a loving Christian marriage. And everything falls apart, and Pete starts crashing. And so they get a divorce, and he starts going full-time, really going hard on the stand-up comedy thing, starts doing just all the time, right? And then the second season, he starts to find some sort of success, and he gets to start networking, but he's still crashing, he's still screwing up. But great show. Can't recommend it enough. Anytime there's like a comedian and they're like, I'm gonna make a show that's kind of about my life, but then like I'm gonna make up a bunch of stuff as well.
Everybody hates Chris.
It's so good. Every show that I've ever watched that is of that vein is great, and this show is no exception. Again, that's Crashing, starring Pete Holmes. Really funny dude. He's got some good stand-up as well. Thirdly, from HBO, I watched the first and current season of Barry, which is less like these other shows in the sense of, and more like the other show that I watched this week. Barry is a show starring Bill Hader, created, I think written as well. I mean, he's one of the writers on the show, I would imagine. And he plays Barry, and Barry is a hitman. And Barry wants to get out of the hitman life, and he wants to get into the spotlight, and he wants to become an actor. But he can't seem to quit the hitman life. Things keep popping up that keep him from leaving that life, whether it be somebody's life is threatened, that he is close to, or maybe somebody is trying to kill him. But all this time, he's trying to act and live a normal life and be a normal person, and he keeps having to kill people because he just wants to live his life. And it's 8 episodes, and it's hysterical, and it's uncomfortable, and it's beautiful, and I love it.
I like uncomfortable.
Yeah, so Barry, and it's like uncomfortable in like the ways like, think about like being really shy around a lady, right? And you're trying to talk to a lady, but you can't really get anything out.
This is too real.
Too real. Nothing comes out right, and you're kind of just a babbling mess. It's a lot of that kind of feeling, like, oh God, he's murdering it. Oh God, no. And then also like, oh crap, he just murdered that person, and now he has to hide the body, and he has to do this and that. Also, these people in his life can't know about this because otherwise they'd turn him in because he's killed a lot of people. So it's a lot of like, you're just like uncomfortable the whole time, and then you're laughing along the way, which kind of, balances out the uncomfortableness.
I was kind of hoping you were going to say that, like, he keeps accidentally killing people.
Well, no, he doesn't accidentally kill people. But he's like really, really strangely good at killing people. Like, he's really good at being a hitman. So he's a really good hitman who doesn't want to be a hitman anymore, right? And so he gets himself into a situation where essentially his life or his livelihood is threatened, and he realizes, like, if I do not kill this person, my life will not be how I want it to be. And therefore, like, if people just stopped chasing him down, he wouldn't ever have killed another person. But the fact that he's wanted by the cops, by the government, because he's a mass murderer, even though they were all contract hits. And then, like, you got different people who he's made enemies of who are trying to kill him because he knows information about stuff, and it's just he'll never be able to escape it regardless, which is the sad part. But it's a really good premise for a show.
I like it.
Yeah. And so, speaking about killing and murder and stuff like that, I watched
You kill us.
a much darker show this week about eating people. So I've been thinking about
Looney Tunes.
eating people. No, I have not been thinking about eating people.
I'm glad.
So I watched Hannibal this week.
Well, I bet you thought about it a little bit.
Yeah,
When you
yeah.
see some of the dishes he prepares.
So I think I was about 8 episodes in when I initially tried to start watching it, and I figured, okay, it's been a while. I'm just gonna start over. And then also, my roommate is watching with me as well, and so we're about 4 or 5 episodes in. Many people have died. Many people have had their lungs or their kidneys eaten, and then fed to
Yum.
non-cannibals. Which does, if you don't know you're eating human meat, are you still a cannibal?
These are the real questions.
No.
Can we get a poll in the
I just
chat?
didn't get a response. It just went silent. I think that was like the best silence.
I was trying to
so
process that.
because it was like, oh, it's so uncomfortable. Why would you ask these questions?
Have I ever eaten people on accident?
Well, I feel like in the case of Hannibal,
You're on the breakdown.
like
Welcome.
it's tough in the case of Hannibal because, like, the thing that's really bad is that Hannibal killed the person in order to eat that.
Right. Not
Obviously, the person eating them
misled to think that this is like pork
unknowingly,
or something like that. Right.
I don't place blame on the people. Like, yeah, it definitely sucks, and I'd be mortified if I was them. But I think you'd still have to label them cannibals.
Yeah.
On a technicality, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, so don't eat people on purpose.
So don't eat people. Break.
Don't eat people on purpose.
On purpose.
But if you are eating people on accident, you probably won't know. So you're probably in a good state right there anyway.
We still love you. If
You've
you
accidentally
eat
eaten
some.
people because some sadistic person was feeding you people, but that's not your fault. We don't hold that blame to you.
We'd be
or
remiss to
myself.
talk about Hannibal without giving great praise to the performances of Hugh Dancy and Mads Mikkelsen, because they are incredible leads.
They're so
yeah.
good. They're so good.
Hugh Dancy has so much nuance in his performance as Will Graham, and whoever thought there could be another, like, respectable Hannibal Lecter, on top of Anthony Hopkins, and here comes Mads
Right.
Mikkelsen, like, wait a minute, maybe I'm the definitive Hannibal Lecter. He's the definitive Hannibal Lecter to definitive Hannibal Lecter to me.
Definable Lecter.
Definitive Lecter. Mads. I see we got a Mads fan in the chat.
Yeah, no,
It's hard not to be.
This show it's so good. It's so well shot. The performances are incredible. You're talking about Hugh Dancy, like, a lot of his scenes are very silent.
Mm-hmm.
So, trying to make a scene that is interesting to watch a person on screen not say a lot, but, like, be expressive and emotive, and then to really convey a character who has a deeply troubled soul.
Yeah.
He means well and he does well, but inside he's just, like, tortured because all this empathy and what he's on the spectrum too.
They allude to the fact that he's got Asperger's. It's never
Yeah.
like explicitly stated, but he suggests it.
Yeah. So
And I really love that
yeah.
dynamic for his character too. Like the fact that his problem is that he's too empathetic, and that causes him to hallucinate and have, you know, strange connections to these villains who are doing horrible things.
To just be able to recreate the motives and then how the scene would have played out just based on okay, look at all these things that have happened and how do I connect all these dots, and then you realize, okay, well, this makes sense based on this emotional profile. And yeah, it's and they go so deep too. Like this show is not for like anybody with like a weak stomach or a weak heart.
No.
Like it will destroy you and it will test you with gratuitous like gore
gratuitous.
It's all very well shot and very purposeful, and it really serves the narrative well.
The show, like, it's hard to call it a show. Like it's art. Well, let's be honest. Like, it's art.
Yeah.
And I like the way, like, the character dynamics are really great. Just overall, the emotional baggage that Will Graham, like, carries throughout just the course of the show, because of everything he experienced, you know, and he does such a good job of portraying that. Even though it's something that you can't just say, like, oh man, this is getting to me.
Yeah.
And think about like your preparation for performing a character like this. Who do you profile to become someone who profiles people?
Ed Gein.
Ed Gein? Who's Ed Gein?
Prolific serial killer. A lot of the horror films, like a lot of the bad guys in horror films are based off of him.
Oh,
okay.
Fun fact: I live close to where he lived. That doesn't terrify me at all.
Okay,
You know,
so you
don't
gotta be
forget.
careful.
It's kind of like me, like growing up. Like I didn't grow up in Chicago, but I grew up south of Chicago, so it's very much part of my identity. And then finding somebody like, you know, Wayne Gacy Jr. or something like that, who's like from that area, and it's unsettling. But it's also like, yeah, I lived, you know, within an hour or something like that of that. But yeah. Hannibal's a good show. Don't eat people. But
It's three seasons deep right now.
Yeah.
Don't eat while you're watching it,
Right
unless
now,
it makes you
because
hungry.
you're still
then eat
holding
while
out
you
hope
watch
for
it.
another season.
I'm pretty sure it's all but confirmed at this point. Everyone's on board.
I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
If you guys don't mind, do you guys mind if I talk about some other tasty eats?
Like food?
People
Well,
food.
within the context of a certain show that I started watching.
Oh
yeah,
please
do it.
carry into it.
Yeah. So you gentlemen have been talking about this for weeks now, and then also bugging me, and I finally decided to You got it, Paul. Fighting Foodons. That's what I've been
You
watching.
took a bite out of your curiosity. You finally did it.
No, I tasted the glory of Shokugeki no Soma.
Mister, I like cooking shows and I like anime, but I don't like cooking
Shokugeki
Okay.
blows.
The jokes aside, that opening episode is one of the best opening episodes of an anime that I've ever seen. Like, hands down, I was like so into it. I was like, the presentation of Soma, and he's just like, he's cooking, and it's all dramatic, and it's huge, and it's amazing. And then
This is a
goes
shonen.
on to like explain. He goes on to explain like his thought process and his techniques and why he did everything in the order that he did and why it tastes so amazing. And then everybody's having like, for lack of a better word, people are orgasming on the screen, and I'm like, oh my god! And it's every episode.
Yeah.
It's every episode. They're like, hey, taste this food. Okay, it can't possibly be that good. Oh no no!
Well,
Oh my God! Why
eat my
am I
food.
naked?
No, peasant. You have to
this is
now.
better than anything that's ever
Peasant.
happened to me ever.
And then
like
that.
every like meal that someone makes is like sex, except for all of his experiments. His experiments, which is great. It's so funny. It's all of a sudden he turns around. He's like, I'm not competing. Hey, try this. Try this. And then it's like this horrifying experience. It's like the exact opposite. It's so funny. The show is hysterical.
It's
this
really
show
great.
is so funny. It's so funny. Oh my goodness gracious. And I'm only 7 episodes in. All the characters are great. Every time there's a battle, it's like there's a formula, right? There's that formula of, okay, we're having the Shokugeki, and then all of a sudden people are like, you know, just dying to get their food, like somebody's food, right? Ugh. But it doesn't get old. It hasn't gotten old yet.
It's the shonen elements to it, you know?
Yeah.
It's because everybody like looks down on him while he's making the food, and then him overcoming those odds.
Right, and then he's got the attitude of like every, you know, shonen main protagonist ever. Where
But
it's like, I'm gonna be the best, I'm gonna be the best, I'm gonna be the best, and I'm super confident as well.
It's interesting though, because like he is brimming with confidence and he's got the skill to back it up from the get-go. That's where some of these other shonen heroes, like Naruto or Deku, are losers at the beginning. They've got nothing except spirit. Right. And someone's just a whole package. He'll just blow you away. So I love that dynamic of it.
Right. I like, you know, now that you mention it, he's got that in a different way, right? So everybody looks down on him because he just comes from some diner. He just worked in his dad's diner.
Right.
Whereas a lot of these top people are like, I was raised in industry and my parents are like super successful and rich.
We're so gourmet.
Right. All that kind of stuff. So in that sense, like he's coming from the bottom, right? But he's also like,
now he's here.
I'm super good at this, and I realize there's stuff I can learn, but I'm also super confident in my cooking skills, which he should, because at that higher echelon, you know, of like cooks, like everybody's like amazing. Like, you know, they had that cook-off with the 7th seat in the Elite 10, right?
Was that Ishiki Senpai?
I think so. But but the same thing happens. He cooks something, and all of a sudden, he's like, "Oh my god!" Like it's the same reaction, and it's
the variety they attribute to the foodgasms. They're always like very unique, and that's like the best part of it.
I love them too, because like, how else do you like convey this to the viewer?
Okay, so it's, you know, a lot of shows with this kind of content, it's kind of just there, it's fan service, it's random, whereas the integration with something of this kind of openness of sexuality that, you know, specifically just Japan has in general, right? They show that in a really constructive and interesting way, because who hasn't thought, oh my god, like this is the best thing ever and I'm about to die, or oh, this cake is better than sex, right? And so now they're playing with that visually, and it's hysterical. It's the funniest thing, and I love every minute.
There's also, you know, it's interesting too, because, you know, a lot of these anime that are ecchi will only lean ecchi on the female side. But this anime is not afraid to show you some masculine bodies.
Oh yeah, like it's not gender exclusive, the sexuality.
Yeah.
Right. And it's almost like it makes it like even more okay. Like, you know, we generally steer clear of those kind of things. But sometimes you're watching something and you have to deal with it, right? So like when you guys did that playthrough of A Way Out, right?
Yeah.
And there's the part with the butt. It's like, okay, it's there. We're not gonna fight about it. Hey, everybody, let's be mature. So I mean, in the same sense, like
we were not mature.
It works too well. Well, yeah, but like it works too well for you to like even like think that like No, I wouldn't show something like this to my father, but at the same time, I would show this to somebody else who I might be scared to show something of a similar what's like caliber, taboo,
Lewdness.
Yeah.
Don't watch it with your family.
Yeah. Don't watch it with your family, but it's so good. I can't not recommend it, and it's so tasty. All I want to do is eat when I watch it. I want to be in the anime, and I want to be eating that food. And
they need to open up a restaurant in Japan that just serves all of this stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised if that exists already. I want
it gives
the
more reason to go.
What's the name of the dish that he makes in the first episode? The
potato meatloaf.
Yeah, it's got it's like strips of ham or bacon surrounding the outside.
It is bacon.
Oh man, they make the food look so good. Like from an animation standpoint, very high up there. Well, I guess I should say from an art standpoint specifically.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're finally watching this, Logan, because we knew that you would love
never
it.
Would.
It's really a treat, and this happens. Okay, this is not a rare occurrence for me, right? I don't think it is for anybody. Like, there's always things in people's lives where there's somebody or several people in their life who are like begging them, like, dude, watch this, you'll enjoy it. Experience this, you'll enjoy it, you'll really like this. And then you're like, oh, whatever, man. And then you finally get around to watching
anime shows about food.
It's incredible. It's kind of the same with like My Hero. All of a sudden, like, you guys are watching. I should watch My Hero. My little brother's watching My Hero. I guess I should watch My Hero. Holy crap! I freaking love My Hero Academia, and so I guess the same thing is happening with Shokugeki, because it's really, really good and it's really, really funny, and I could binge that. I mean, we're 3 seasons in now.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll give that to you guys next
maybe 2.
week.
And we're finally at a point where we don't have to worry about the show not coming back every season.
Right.
I think it's pretty much a mainstay now.
It's one of the more popular shows on Verve.
Yeah, I went through 2 cancellations, so I feel good. When you're talking about people wanting you to watch something, and that can get overbearing sometimes because you get lots of recommendations from lots of people. But
Right.
It's that idea, and this is why reaction videos are like popular on the internet. It's that idea of shared experiences. Like, this gave me an intense, or My Hero Academia, for instance, that gives you an incredible sense of empowerment and makes you feel like you can do anything, and you want other people to feel that. Well, for Shokugeki, for me, it's so funny, and it provides some relief in a regular stressful day, and I want other people to feel that, laugh along with me. That's what I want, and that's what
experience the ridiculousness of this show.
Yeah,
it's so over the top. Like, they take something so relatively mundane like cooking, and they're like, okay, we're gonna turn this into the most exciting experience you've ever had. Who knew food could be so exciting? Other than everybody who's watched Fighting Foodons.
I can't remember. Is it the first? I think I liked the first opening a lot, or maybe it was the second opening that I thought was really good.
I like the opening. I like the opening. It's not like one of my favorites or anything like that, but I definitely enjoy it. I can't wait to hear some of the other openings, because oh man, some of the I think it's the third season My Hero opening is just,
oh yeah,
it's so
that's
good.
my favorite by far. I've been, you sent me that video of Rayon Lee singing the opening from season 2, and then I made it back to her video where she sings opening 16 of Naruto Shippuden, Silhouette, and that video's got like 56 million views. Like, that song put her on the map.
Right. Wow.
I watched the actual music video for that today for the first time, and I think the band's name is Kanabone. And the music video is just like this regular, everyday Japanese businessman running in a parking lot, screaming at the top of his lungs and falling all over the place. That's the entire music video, and I'm like, all right, I don't know what you're going for here, but I love it.
That's amazing.
I want to do that, more of that, just like looking at Japanese
music videos. They're
and
really
trying to
like off the wall.
Maybe just music
I love
videos in
Japanese
general. We're just
music
trying to
videos.
figure out what the heck's
So
going
good.
on in music videos.
Yeah. Flow, which is like a prominent band for some of the Naruto openings, they did Go, or Fighting Dreamers for those of you who know it like that. And Remember. And the song Remember, I specifically remember there being like fish people in that one. And I don't know why, but there's fish people in it. Weird stuff. So moving on with the anime. Speaking of Naruto.
Speaking of Naruto openings.
Yeah, speaking of Naruto, I have completed the Chunin exams arc.
Wait. Naruto? I don't
Yeah,
know
Boruto's dad. My bad.
Or Boruto's
Boruto's dad.
Right.
Okay. Now,
So
continue,
Naruto
please.
is like the underground name that only like the hardcorest of fans call it by.
Yeah, you gotta figure out what Boruto's dad's name actually is.
Yeah, it's an important part of the show. Like the first
It's not like he's
episode.
the Hokage or anything.
The first episode's called Enter Naruto Uzumaki. At that point, then you can call it Naruto. But
Only after the
Boruto's
first
dad.
episode.
Yeah, I finished the Chunin exams arc, which is notoriously the longest arc in part 1 of Naruto. But holy cow, that ending is fantastic. It's like the first big battle that you experience in Naruto. It really sets a precedent for what you'll experience in like the latter half of Naruto Shippuden, and it is so hype, so over the top. Your boy does work. You finally see Naruto starting to spread his wings as a ninja, and it's really great. It's a little different from My Hero Academia because you get to see Deku kind of evolve pretty quickly. For Naruto, it's a slow burn. He gets there over time because he is very much a loser. So getting to see that point, just, it filled me with intense emotion, seeing my boy finally do something great. So yeah, I love that. So I'm in
How many episodes in are you right now?
the Chunin exams arc ends in like somewhere in the 70s for the
Okay.
episode count. So it's it's a long arc. It's over 50 episodes long.
Yeah.
But the way the arc is segmented, you could almost consider it more than one arc anyway. But
I kind of do. Like, I consider the prelims to be different than the actual, like, finals.
yeah, they're pretty separated. And lots of battles in between there, so lots to
Something
enjoy.
with Naruto is, like, it always escalates, and just when you're like, they can't escalate this any further, they always find a way.
Yeah,
Always find a way.
I thought we were at the limit at the end of the Chunin exams because that battle becomes very large. But no, it just gets bigger and bigger. It's like Dragon Ball. It follows a
I
similar
was about to
structure.
say, isn't that like every shonen? I mean, obviously there are like extremes in terms of like the scale of how big things get, but like
Well-
that's the whole thing, is they just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And,
I mean, you can get bigger and not necessarily get better.
right,
This gets bigger and better.
right.
Yeah,
I've seen
every
a lot
time.
of shonen that, like, they just keep trying to get bigger and then they just keep getting worse.
Well, that's why you got to do it over 50 episodes, and if you're not throwing galaxies at each other by the end of those 50 episodes, you're doing something wrong.
That's hilarious that you say that. I'm not going to get into that, though. So I've also been watching Naruto Next Generations, or excuse me, Boruto's dad Next Generations, as the normal people call it.
The normies.
So like I said, we're still in the final act of the movie. The episode that took place here, we've actually entered the final battle.
Okay, I know where you're at.
Yeah. And there's a specific scene with Naruto himself where you really get some insight onto his relationship with Boruto that they don't give you in the movie. And it's really good stuff because for what you know about Naruto's character at that point, like the issues that he's been having with his son are like the polar opposite of who he is as a person. And when he comes to realize that, it hit me. It hit me hard. I was like, oh my God, this is not the Naruto I know. And he finally figures it out. And I'm like, oh, yes, thank you. You get to see him kind of make up with Boruto, and they have this exchange where Naruto is going to kind of tell him his stories so that Boruto can learn a little bit more about him and why he is the way he is.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're gonna make me watch this now, Brandon. Thanks.
It's so good. I'm like blown away by how good Boruto got.
Well, I thought it was amazing just like the first time you see it in an hour and a half.
Man, I can't wait for Naruto.
I didn't know it could get better. Boruto's dad Kai.
I'm still
Boruto's
surprised
dad
that I can
Kai.
sit here and say that the anime version of the movie is better than the movie.
Take that, Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Dragon Ball Super, there is a movie for that coming out here in 5 months, and the news came out today, so I wanted to take some time to talk about that.
Might be excited.
Yeah, I might be incredibly excited. So for fans of Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball GT, the villain for the
All
next...
owned by Toei Animation, Fuji TV, and Akira Toriyama.
Please support the official release. So for fans of Dragon Ball, the villain for the Dragon Ball Super movie, which is coming out in December, was officially revealed today. So let me let me tell you the timeline of events here first. So around the mid-afternoon, a poster for Dragon Ball Super the movie appeared on Twitter. It was leaked, and it revealed the villain for the movie to be Broly, who is a notorious character in Dragon Ball fandom for being a big, burly Saiyan boy from Dragon Ball Z, Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan, a non-canon movie from the mid-90s. Now, Broly has a mixed reception in the fan base. Like, people either love him or they hate him. And that really came to the forefront today, because my Twitter blew up. People were so mad about this.
I can partially understand that. If you hold his character strictly, like the only experience you had with it, Bio Broly, completely understand why you would hate him.
We don't talk about Bio Broly.
If you watch the first two movies, and especially the first, if you watch the first one and still hate him, I do not understand you.
Well, Broly's motivation is why people don't like Broly. Logan, do you mind if we talk about that?
Nope, go ahead.
So,
well, I just want to point out though, we don't know if that part of his character is going to stick.
Exactly.
So people are upset for that reason alone. They're dumb.
So the main thing that people are upset about is that in the original movie, which Toriyama had nothing to do with other than drawing Broly's character designs, his initial design, Broly's motivation. So Broly has a personal vendetta against Goku. He hates Goku, and he wants Goku to die. That's his number one goal in life, is to make sure Goku is dead. And the reason he hates Goku is because when they were first born in their little, nursery Saiyan pods, they were right next to each other, born on the same day. Goku was such a crybaby, and he cried all the time, that he made Broly cry because he was so noisy. So that's why Broly wants Goku dead. That's his motivation.
God.
I need to make one quick correction to that, though.
Oh my God, that's
it's
amazing!
Gohan's dad.
And so he goes across the universe to kill Goku because when they were infants, he made Broly cry.
He survived the destruction of their planet and then went across the universe
to kill Goku.
Because
That's dedication. That's dedication. I wish I had that kind of drive for.
And people hate that about the movie. That has never bothered me, because I live in a world where Beerus almost destroyed planet Earth because he didn't get some pudding.
It's funny.
It's hilarious.
It's funny. Why would you do it? I mean, that's why we have animation, right? So we can do things in different worlds that never would happen here,
I mean, in this particular case, too, I want to point out that Broly's character is not exceptionally articulate, and I wouldn't say that there's a whole lot going on other than his festering need for revenge.
Well, he also has
always been the case.
He also has a gift of power that he's just had ever since he was an infant, and that has had a significant effect on his mental health. So that plays into it as well. The thing about that, though, is like Paul said, we don't know that we're going to see the same Broly that we know from the 1990s film and see that on the big screen when the movie comes out in December. The character design that's in the poster is brand new. Broly's got a brand new design. Toriyama has even made comments saying that he's watched the movies again, and he's going to rearrange some things, and he's giving Broly some new dimensions to his character. So for all we know, Broly might have a completely new reason for wanting to kill Goku, if that's even what he wants to do in the first place.
I'm hoping it's more that their paths just cross, and it's less that he's specifically going out of his way to kill Goku, but their motivations and like different paths, so it forces them to clash.
I have a theory. Or go ahead, Logan, then I'll give you my theory.
I was gonna say, I think, unless the new reason or whatever has happened, what if Toriyama's changed, unless it's really good, I feel like I'll be disappointed if the motivation is any different.
I'm
sorry, it's just too funny not to want, like, as canon material. Like, how? Yeah. That's genius.
I think I might know what your theory is. I want to hear yours before I confirm or deny.
So they're bringing out remastered versions of 3 Dragon Ball films to American theaters. I don't know if they're playing them in Japanese theaters, but one of them is Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan, which they're playing in September. And then in November, they're doing a double feature of Bardock, the father of Goku, and which, Logan, you really need to see that one. That is like as canon as you can get. And then Fusion Reborn, which is one of the later films of the original 13. So this plays into my theory a little bit. I think Broly will have some kind of vendetta against either Goku or Vegeta. If you remember from the original Broly movie, his father was a prominent character in the film.
Are you spoiling the movie for me?
Paragus is a character in a movie. Spoiled you. I have a feeling... He had a
father. He wasn't Immaculate Conception.
I have a feeling like Paragus and Bardock are going to have some kind of history together, and then that history is going to roll over into Broly's personal motivations against Goku, because apparently this movie is going to explain a lot of Saiyan lore that we haven't heard before.
Levi in the chat.
No story, all muscle and fights. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I also think Fusion Reborn is getting shown off for another reason, which might be obvious to those who've seen it. Fusion.
No clue! What's that?
We might see some Gogeta.
Hear me out, though.
Logan doesn't even know what a Gogeta is.
What if?
It's a Goku Vegeta.
What if?
What do you mean I don't know what a Gogeta is?
You know what a Vegeto is.
What
if? Fifth time's charm. What if?
Go for it, Paul.
What if? What if he's after Frieza? What if that's who his vendettas against, and Goku and Vegeta get in the way with that because of the ending of Super?
I think
where they kind of leave things off.
I think you're onto something with that one, Paul. That makes the most sense, because if Frieza has any enemies in the universe, it is definitely the Saiyans.
Yeah.
As a collective.
So you find the one Saiyan that, wasn't killed by Frieza.
That's assumed, and we don't know for sure if Broly is dead and is somehow returned to life, or if he did escape somehow. We've had Saiyans appearing left and right who supposedly didn't die in the explosion on planet Vegeta, even though Raditz claimed...
How many of them have been canon, then?
Tarbell. Tarbell's canon. Vegeta's brother.
Oh.
Vegeta has a little brother.
One very obscure, weird...
That is like a super obscure... Logan, you should watch that sometime. It's like a 20-minute special.
Okay, good.
So I am not among the people who are upset about Broly being the villain. I'm actually incredibly excited that Toriyama is going to give his own take on a character who was previously non-canon. And, he's going to write the screenplay. Battle of Gods is a fantastic movie, and I love Resurrection F as well. So, I know it's going to be in good hands with Toriyama. Of course, he's the man who made all this possible in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
And that art on the poster is so good.
Yeah, I can't wait. Oh, man, I can't wait to see this movie for, its style of animation. Just really
Yeah.
excited. The sample they gave us, like, oh,
This is going to be like the most spectacular fight they've ever given us.
yeah, I'm really excited.
Like I said, this is an opportunity. So anyone who's upset, you're not looking at this right. This is an opportunity for the character, for this really awesome character, to be done well.
Yeah, like if you don't like Broly, this is your chance to have a reason to like Broly. This is
Right.
a redemption.
And here's the other thing: they could either take and rework a villain that is already established and people notice and they know who it is, right? So you say Broly, and everybody's like, "What?" So there's buzz on the internet. Whereas they could have made up an entirely new one and
Resurrection Cell
serve the same purpose, But this time, you get a recognition for a character that has existed and a chance to make it better. So
You could almost call this a new villain because, he's going to have a brand new story behind him. And this will be
canon for the first time.
Yeah, he'll be canon for the very first time. So there's a lot of potential here, and I can't wait to see what happens. 2 weeks from yesterday at Comic-Con, there is a high probability that a brand new full-length trailer for the Super movie will be revealed.
okay with this.
Another good tidbit of information with that is the panel is being hosted by Sean Schemmel and Chris Sabat, who are the dub voices of Goku and Vegeta. So there's also a good chance there will be a dub reveal for the movie.
Ooh.
If that's day and date with the sub, it's over.
I think at this point,
Hype through the roof.
I think they would. I think they'd do it.
I can't imagine what it would be like if they announce day and date. The world's gonna blow up.
Yeah, the one thing about that is I want the dub to be finished super in time for that.
You're like so close to the end, but also so far away from the end now.
I know. It's really I think regardless, if the dub isn't finished, then I'm gonna watch the sub through the ending.
You're gonna have to if you go to the movie.
Yeah, like it's not.
It's highly encouraged if you see the movie.
They honestly really should just do the same day dub. I mean, do they like money? I'm sure they do.
I mean, we got.
It's also a lot of work, though. I mean, but at least for one movie, it's not like trying to do it week by week.
We got Resurrection F 3 months later, right?
Yeah.
I'd say this is a big enough deal to warrant it, though.
This is going to be like my movie of the year, like outside of Infinity War. This is a big deal for me. Big news.
Big news.
Levi has given you respect for sticking with the dub in the first place.
It's a good dub.
It is a great dub.
He's not wrong.
I mean, you weren't even done with Kai by the time the dub had started.
Right, and that's really the thing is like there was already a lot of dub to watch. There was like I mean even now like I've watched. I'm just waiting for them to do another dump on Verve, Thankfully, I mean, I think the advantage of me not watching Super right now is I can focus more on other shows. So it gave me time to watch My Hero Academia and then get that up to a weekly thing. It's giving me time to watch Shokugeki. So, pluses and minuses, negatives and positives, all that good stuff.
And regardless, in the end, you'll have watched all of Super by the time we go to see that movie.
Oh yeah, and I can't wait.
Yeah,
can't wait.
So excited.
If you can give us the dub, at least like the rest of the dub, like a month before, the
like
release,
a dub dump.
Yeah, just give us that last dump. I know.
But I think I calculated by the time that movie premieres, there will only be like 20 or 30 episodes of Super left in the dub. If they keep doing one episode a week.
Yeah.
Crank that up to 2.
Yeah.
Honestly, they could.
I hope they do. I hope they pick up pace because why would you not want to have the dub finished for the movie? And especially if you're doing like a simul dub release of the movie per se.
Yeah, I would like to live in that world, because I live in a world where the dub of Boruto Naruto the movie came out before Naruto Shippuden's dub was done, and it is still not done, and that movie came out over a year ago.
Yikes.
Maybe if they had just a little bit less filler, they're done.
Yeah, no kidding.
I might not have gotten triggered by that. What?
So kind of rolling away from Dragon Ball Super, I watched the episode of My Hero Academia that was released, or the dubbed episode, the one that follows the battle with All For One.
Episode 50?
I think.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. It was a good episode.
It is.
Good episode. Me and Paul both watched it subbed. I haven't gotten around to watching it dubbed. I was going to watch the dub, and then I watched 7 episodes of Shokugeki instead.
Not a bad
Right
choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great episode, a great follow-up to an incredibly big battle. A lot of very touching moments in this, especially All Might's interaction with Midoriya's mom. I thought that was a fantastic, incredibly well-written scene.
Yeah, and there was so much like respect, and there was so much passion and emotion, like all these different feelings, right, all at once. And actually, that's the reason I need to go watch it back, because I gotta hear those things being said in those voices, right?
Yeah.
And there's a moment where All Might bows, like all the way to the floor for Midoriya's mother, and for those of you who aren't super, you don't know a ton about Japanese culture, that is an enormous sign of respect for you to bow, for one, that low to the ground, and for someone who is not above you in rank.
Yeah.
Yeah, the number one hero.
The number one hero.
Number one hero in the world, and from the perspective of him being a teacher, because he was also bowing to his student. So that was an enormous sign of respect that played into that scene as well. It was really, really well crafted.
Please tell me you shed some tears.
Multiple times.
Yeah, I'm like starting to tear up right
That
now.
scene with Bakugo, man, that really got me.
That's what I was gonna say. Especially with like Bakugo's character and everything you kind of suspect, like seeing the other side of that whole endeavor on his part,
Yeah.
and like seeing how much his mom in particular appreciates the words said about him, because it's someone you assume will eventually become and he doesn't. And the one person that really saw through that is his teacher, Aizawa, and that was a touching moment too. Like that was, I think, during that last arc, that was one of the moments that I cried a lot.
And then
was that press conference.
He steps outside to talk to All Might to find out what his relationship is to Midoriya, which tells me that Bakugo, it will not be long before Bakugo finds out the truth about who Deku really is.
And One for All?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's this moment where, he says, okay, it's fine if you don't want to tell me what's really going on. And then he walks away, and he says, just barely audible, he says, but thank you. And he walks back into the house, and I was like, oh my god, we are experiencing
evolving.
This is the Vegeta arc we're seeing right now, where this incredibly prideful character who wants to be the strongest is now humbling himself before someone who he recognizes as his superior. It was a big scene in Dragon Ball Z when Goku is fighting Kid Buu and Vegeta's off on the sidelines. In his mind, he's just praising Goku for how incredible he is, and he's finally accepting the fact that he's not the greatest, but that's okay.
Yeah, but then they'll still remain hard-headed, and they'll blow up, and it's still funny, and you'll still get that, but then, the character dynamics will be
I 100% believe he's going to become Midoriya's Endeavor.
Oh, yeah. Totally. I feel that.
Just have a lot of respect for him, but then still be like, I'm going to beat you somehow.
Yeah, you watch Super now in Dragon Ball Z, and Vegeta is still like a jerk to Goku all the time.
Right.
So yeah, this is a great episode of My Hero Academia. I think this might be one of the strongest in the season. Speaking
of Endeavor, there's also that really short clip where you see his reaction to now being the number hero.
Oh,
and just like how upset he is that it wasn't
that's how he
because of his own skill. Yeah.
This
episode was super real.
That's the Vegeta complex right there. Like, if you can't beat the number one hero of your own power, what's the point of being number one? You didn't prove anything.
Right.
So that's definitely a struggle I can understand.
Yeah.
This,
I love it. It was, great episode. I need to go back and rewatch it with Chris Sabat.
That's sweet Chris Sabat.
Daddy Sabat.
Daddy Sabat.
Such a good moment. I mean, we're getting a new episode finally, like next week.
For the dub?
In terms, well,
or the sub?
Well, I don't think there was a new episode for the sub this week.
Oh, was it
I
on
want to
break?
go see it, and yeah, I'm gonna guess so.
Okay, so the dub was originally 3 weeks behind, so now it's actually 2 weeks behind, like it's supposed to be.
Unless it like snuck in there after I checked, but I don't think it did.
which is still, it's kind of bumming me out still that I have to wait 2 weeks for a dub now. Like, I mean, I know it's like a lot of work. That's a ton of work, and
See,
make that kind of turnaround.
That's why I waited. I'm like, if I can get through that initial hurdle of waiting, once there's a new episode, I'll have a new episode every week for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Ideally.
Yeah.
I mean, now that I know the sub missed a week, I'll probably just wait 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
Until like the next new episode comes on.
If we were like a season behind or something, I would not be doing this.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I watched Super all the way to the end, for goodness sake. So yeah, that's all I did for anime this week.
So I got much further into Megalobox.
How you liking it?
Holy crap, this show is good.
Yes!
And I mean, I'm already like biased towards like boxing in general, but this show is so dynamic. Like, all the characters are great. You know, it's the truest of underdog stories.
Yes. It's just so pure. It's so pure. It's like, you know, every shonen ever is kind of like an underdog, right? Thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
Well, I mean, they own that because his like initial like fighter name was Stray Dog.
Right, but
Wow.
it's like, it's so like
On the nose.
tame compared to some other shonen, you know? It's not very silly or anything like that. It's very straightforward. It's only 13 episodes. But man, in those 13 episodes, it's good old boxing, man.
Oh yeah.
You
I think
know,
I'm
you just have
pretty
arms-
close to being done. I think I got
What
like
episode
3
are you
episodes.
on?
That's what I forget. I think I'm on 10. So
Okay, yeah.
tonight I'll start on 11 and I'll finish that up.
It's really good. It's so good. And it's only 13 episodes. And that's the best part, right? Because it's nice to have a short anime every once in a while. It's really good.
There are like a couple of things where like moments where they just kind of skipped around a bit.
Yeah.
And I feel like there were certain things that they expanded on that I wish they hadn't. Other things that like they didn't expand upon that I wish they did.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's 13 episodes. It's pretty solid despite that. It's just really good.
Right.
It's got great action to it. There was like 1 or 2 parts that like there's one fight in particular, I forgot who is fighting, but it just took me straight back to my favorite episode of Yu Yu Hakusho, where they have the knife edge death match.
Right.
Granted, they had no knives and there was no edge and they weren't death matching in that episode, but like the way they coordinated that fight really just reminded me of that.
Right.
So if you haven't started yet, I highly recommend it. So is Logan.
That's you could do that in a week.
You got time for that.
You could do that in a week if you want.
Don't
I
lie
could
to
knock
us.
that out in an afternoon. I watched
20
almost 80
minute
episodes
episodes.
of Naruto in a 3-week period. I can do that.
In 2 years, when you get done with Naruto, you should check it out.
The sad part is that 2 years is probably an accurate statement.
Oh goodness gracious.
It'll be another 5 years before they finish the dub. It just depends on what you want to watch.
The dub is finished middle of next year. They're 40 episodes away.
They're still like a year away though.
That's because they release them in 13 episode sets only 4 times a year.
First off, they need to just cut that out.
It makes them a lot.
You have the source material now. It is done.
This is the only way to watch the dub outside of buying it on Amazon. There's no way for me to just stream it online, which is really depressing.
They got a lot of work to do to catch up to the modern era.
What else you got?
So I watched another episode of Steins Gate Zero. That show is still good, and eventually you guys will know the joy.
Whatever.
I'll get there.
Logan won't, because he doesn't like anime shows about cooking.
Anime sucks. I'm not watching anime anymore. It's bad because Paul likes it.
Okay. I'm the ender of Logan's anime stint. I got Logan to stop being
anime
a weeb.
Sucks again, guys. For you losers, friggin' weebs.
It's the last thing I watched. I finished the arc I was on in Black Clover, and they dialed it up, and then they just as quickly just boom back down. It's pretty darn good though, not gonna lie.
There's a game for that coming out soon from Bandai Namco, I think.
Who else would make that, you know?
They do all the nice, good, big anime games these days. They've got all three big ones under their name.
They need to like slide. I can't even think of the protagonist's name anymore.
Asta.
They need to slide him in there, and then especially Midori, maybe All Might, into Jump Force.
Oh, into Jump Force, yeah.
Like I think they've announced like 3 Bleach characters. No one cares about Bleach anymore.
Bleach is over.
If you put Ichigo up there, and then Midoriya, and ask me which one I want, Midoriya all the way. Like Ichigo can go emo in a corner.
Absolutely no way that Midoriya will not be in Jump Force. He's gonna be in there. They're waiting for like a big reveal moment. Yeah, he's one of the biggest properties.
Yeah.
Right.
Asta, like with Black Clover, I guess I don't care if they make a game or not. Like I enjoy watching the show, but I don't think I'd play a game for it.
I was just curious if that was like an interesting prospect to you at all. Because I think it's an RPG.
That actually might be interesting. I'll have to look into that then.
Yeah, because it's not just a fighting game. It's an RPG.
I assumed it would be another anime fight, but I guess when I think about it, I step back. Like everyone's magic is drastically different from one another. And so in terms of a fighter, like I'm sure it could be interesting, but not like But as an RPG, they could do some really cool things with that.
Okay.
I think like in this last arc, there is a character that like has mirror magic, so he can reflect things. There is a teleporter, and then you have like 1 or 2 that are focused on like assault. You know, they have very good offensive magic.
Mm-hmm.
And you also have Asta, who
yells.
Well, the thing with Asta, yes, he yells a lot. I don't think like the voice actor has had to deliver a line not yelling.
Isn't he voiced by Vic Mignogna?
Is he?
I thought he was.
I did not pick up on that at all, but that just shows Vic's range.
Let me look that up.
Ridiculous.
He was also Broly, by the way.
Well, yeah.
That reminds me of Spike Spencer doing Shinji Ikari. Just like how many times that man had to like scream into the microphone. I'm pretty sure he like lost his voice several times while he was recording the dub.
Is he voiced by Logan? Just to finish up though, wrap up my thought. Asta is magicless, but that actually gives him an advantage because a lot of characters rely on sensing other people's mana to figure out what their attack is going to be or locate them. You have this character without mana at all who's able to just kind of sneak around, and if they can't see him, they don't know where he's at. On top of that, he's also his only offense, on top of just being cut because he works out, dude lifts, you know. He has an anti-magic sword. And so he's able to cut through a lot of people's spells.
And no, he's not voiced by Vic. It's Dallas Reed. My mistake.
Dallas Reed.
That's a type of name that I can't explain what it reminds me of here. use inference. But yeah, so that was Black Clover. I think an RPG for that would be interesting.
Sweet. That moves us on into the games. I have Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the list here, but since Friday, I didn't really get a chance over the weekend to play much more. I'm still making my way through Chapter 6. The game's still great. I'm still loving it. So I really hope I can finish it within the next 2 weeks, because I want to be done before that DLC pack comes out. But I don't think it comes out until December. If it does come out in December, well, sorry, but Smash Bros.
Yeah. I mean, you can pick it up and you'll get around to it when Smash Bros. Is never gonna wear off. Never mind.
It's a prequel too, so it's not as urgent as if it was a sequel.
Right.
I also bought Inside on Nintendo Switch and finished it in one night. It's not a
really
long
short game.
Very, very short. For those of you who don't know, Inside is from the same people who made Limbo.
Don't know what Limbo is.
It is a spiritual successor to Limbo, using pretty much the exact same gameplay. You run, you jump, you hold things, and you push things.
But it's really compelling, and they do a lot of zany things with this one.
It is a 3D visual style that has very muted colors, with a very harsh sense of shadow and light, that I think plays really well to the game. The story has been a point of contention amongst the community when this game first came out. When I remember it well too. Logan, you've played through this, correct?
Yes, I have.
Did you play this at launch? When did you play it?
I did not play it at launch. I played it a few months ago. I was back home, and I hopped on my younger brother's computer, and he had Inside, and I just sat for a few hours, and I played through it.
Yeah. I think this is a great fit for Nintendo Switch, but really, what game isn't anymore?
Right.
Yeah.
I was really, really gripped by the visuals and just trying to figure out what was happening in the story, because it doesn't tell you anything by narrative means. You have to infer everything by what you see.
No, but they do a really good job of establishing the atmosphere and kind of putting you in situations you're like, what the heck is going on? And you kind of have to just what?
The final act was incredible. Went in a direction I was not anticipating. It does some stuff with the gameplay in that final act that was super cool, and I don't feel like I got enough time with it. When I finished the game, I really was left wanting more because I was having a lot of fun.
Right.
Luckily, this game has 2 endings. You get the second ending.
I didn't know that until today.
There is 14 or 15 collectibles in the game that you can find by kind of getting off the beaten path and, solving these puzzles that are not exactly made apparent in your first run through. And the reason I say that is because I beat the game without ever finding a single collectible or even knowing they existed.
Yeah, same.
But if you collect all of them at a certain point in the last act of the game, a different route will become apparent, and you can do a different ending of the game, which I hear is much different than the one you get.
I want to play this game again, then.
Yeah, I'm going to go through it again. It took me about 3 or 4 hours total, I want to say, to get through the story. I
might even just look up a guide if there is one and just kind of finish it,
Mm-hmm.
It might be very hard to get through it without having a guide, actually, so I would recommend that.
Right.
How much did it cost on Switch?
$20.
Not bad. I didn't know this game existed, and didn't same people.
Yes.
It was
a game changer.
2016. Yeah. They talked about it on NVC, which is what sparked me to purchase it. I mean, I'd already wanted to play it, but PC was really my only option up till now. So getting it on Switch was kind of the selling point. It's funny, when a game is launched on Switch, that's when I want to get it these days. Logan, looks like you have a person in the chat for you.
Oh, do I? That's pretty cool. I'll look at that in a sec. I'm stuck between like I'm like trying to alt tab and I got the flow screwed up.
This week
like,
Logan's the one with 50 tabs. So
I'm fumbling. I'm fumbling with things.
On top of Inside,
Okay, I just saw it. Hi, Katie's friend.
I've also been playing a lot of Pokemon Go. And you guys actually played Pokemon Go this weekend, too.
actually,
yeah.
Real quickly, I want to go full dad mode, even though I'm not a dad at all. If you're going outside for extended periods of time, wear sunblock. I'm not smart. I did not do that. I'm sunburned. I hate my life.
I anticipate
Be
that I'll wake
smarter
up.
than I am.
I'll wake up in the morning with a little bit of burn after today. Yeah, I played Pokemon Go and it was a good time. Catching all those Squirtles yesterday was a blast.
Blastoise.
Yeah, I went out today as well.
Did you end up with a Blastoise, Paul?
No. Are you kidding me? I'm lucky I caught all 5 squirrels I needed.
Yeah. So did you catch the shiny Blastoise or did you catch a shiny Squirtle?
I caught a shiny Squirtle and
Okay,
evolved
that's
it.
what happened to me too. I caught a shiny Squirtle and I was like, wait a minute, he's a little bit more pale, and his
I just got these
shell is the
normal
wrong color.
Squirtles.
What is this? And then I grew him up and he became purple.
So I have 3 Blastoises. I have a regular, fully evolved Blastoise, a shiny, fully evolved Blastoise,
And the one with shades!
and I have the fully evolved Blastoise
Oh,
with
that's
the
so good.
sunglasses.
The trifecta.
My very last catch of the day, or my last research Squirtle, I was so mad because I wanted a shiny sunglasses Squirtle, and my very last research task after the event was over was a shiny sunglasses Squirtle. I was so
That's
happy.
rare stuff, man. That's so rare. That's so good. I'm so jealous.
I think they said it was a 1 in 20 chance for shiny Squirtles yesterday. So like
Okay.
it was
Not bad.
it was pretty high as far as shinies go. And the day before that was shiny Articuno day, which I did not go out for because it was raids only.
Oh, right.
I probably caught up to 300 Squirtles yesterday. It was a lot. And I had lucky eggs, and apparently I didn't even realize this when I used it. During that 4-hour window, there's Paul's Squirtles.
I just got all these normal. I did get a war turtle.
There you
I
go.
evolved for that guy, but
There you go. Well, if we get our friend, well, I guess my 3 Blastoises are kind of important to me. If I had a 4th Blastoise, I'd probably give you one.
Look out for himself.
Mr. 3 Blastoise can't spare one.
I caught 5
For the
shinies.
4-person.
I'm trading you a shiny
Nobody
Squirtle.
feels
I
sorry
could
for
hardly
you, Paul.
catch just
Nobody
a
feels
regular
sorry.
Squirtle, man.
Nobody feels sorry that you live in the middle and that there's no Pokestops or no Pokemon anywhere.
I send you gifts every day, man. Trying to make sure that items are stocked for you.
That being said, you bring up the gifts. I appreciate some of the things that they have added, in the past, just recently, to Pokemon Go to make it an even more social thing. Like, I haven't ever done any raids, right? But then you realize, okay, the raids are, you work together to try to beat this thing so you can get legendary Pokemon, and then I can send gifts to you now, and then if we're together, I can trade with you, and that makes the whole prospect of Pokemon Go a lot more compelling.
This is like
really exciting when it, that summer when it first launched. Oh, so much fun. A lot of fun.
friendships and trading feels like the missing link all this time.
I agree.
And the more trading you do and the more like gift sending you do, the higher your friendship level with that person goes up. And the higher it goes up, the more benefits you get. So when you're battling... There you go, yeah. When you're battling...
all these gifts.
When you're battling in gyms or you're battling in raids, if you're playing with friends that you have higher friendship levels with, you'll do more damage. I think you'll have more defense. And in the case of doing a raid, when you complete a raid, you're given a certain number of premier balls based on your personal performance, your performance as a team, either Instinct, Valor, or Mystic. So team comp is important in raids. And then you're also given extra Pokeballs if you're playing with your friends with higher friendship levels, up to 4 extra ones, I think. So, like, after you've completed the raid, you have to use those Premier Balls. Those are the only Pokeballs you get to catch the raid Pokemon. So that's an added element. So they've actually added a ton of value to going out with your friends on top of just going out in general. So we went out, my wife and I and 2 of her friends went out, and we all went as a group, and it was fun.
I can't believe.
Oh, dang, it's time to move somewhere where Pokemon Go's good.
I mean, there's a new motivation, right? So if anybody doesn't know, really hard here at the Break Room Arcade, to make this kind of stuff into something that eventually pays out and eventually makes it something we can do full time. And one of the advantages of that is we would be able to all be together, and then we could play Pokemon Go whenever we wanted. So go over to our Patreon, and
when you Patreon, you bring friends together.
Become a patron.
You help Paul get away from middle of nowhere Wisconsin to where there's actual Pokemon Go activity, actual Pokemon stops.
Make our lives better, even just by watching. So thank you.
Regardless, we still love you.
And enable us to play Pokemon Go together.
So yesterday was the most people I've ever seen out playing Pokemon Go at once since the game launched. To me, that's an incredible feat. That it's still in its height. Like, it dipped down for a while, but ever since Let's Go was revealed, it just like shot back up.
Yeah, I think it'll continually pick up.
Well, that was a good announcement to highlight all the features they had just like recently added at that time too.
Yeah, I mean, like, since like from that announcement to the last time I had played, they added raids, they tweaked the gym battle system, and then just a few weeks after that, they added friends and trading.
Hold up, Dratini Community Day though?
I missed out on Dratini Community Day, but I also already have a Dragon Knight.
I don't.
I can't believe
my buddy Pokemon's Dratini because I need to.
You have a Dragonair, don't you?
Yeah.
One of the big problems with playing Pokemon Go is when you play on a phone like this, even if it's at 100%, that's maybe an hour or two.
I get away with 3 hours by using this guy.
Oh, yeah. I would love to be able to turn off my phone. So you don't have to have your phone on for it to track the.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
You can catch Pokemon. You can use Pokestops. It actually will hatch eggs, like it's tracking your distance walked.
Right.
So you can do just about everything except gym battles and raids with this thing.
So you just press the button, right?
Yep, and it'll change colors based on what's happening.
Right.
Blue
so it'll indicate whether it's like there's a Pokemon.
It's blue for Pokestop, green for Pokemon,
yellow for a new Pokemon.
Oh.
So if this ever turns yellow, I'll actually pull my phone out and capture the Pokemon manually, because this is a 50-50 shot. You get one chance.
Just every time?
Yep.
Okay. And does it, I'm guessing it uses your stock of Pokeballs?
Yes, and interestingly enough, it only uses Pokeballs. It will not throw Great Balls and not throw Ultra Balls.
Ah, okay.
So
50-50
but
though.
it's just a 50-50 chance.
From what I can tell, it's a 50-50 chance, yeah.
Okay.
But it's made it really nice for me because I can just kind of go out, not worry about my phone, still get progress in the game, and I get to walk around with my wife, and we can focus on each other more than focusing on the game.
Right. Well, maybe I'll get the because the controller, the new controller for Let's Go does the same thing, right?
Yep, it'll be a Pokemon Go Plus.
Right.
And you can recharge it. This runs on like a button battery.
Right.
Good times.
So yeah, that's Pokemon Go.
That's fantastic.
Wear sunscreen.
Don't get burnt. Don't get burnt like Paul got burnt.
Do you want melanoma? I'm gonna die now.
Yeah, it's guaranteed that you get melanoma. You're gonna die now.
I got it.
Oh, you already have melanoma? You've conferred? You've talked to a doctor about this?
Yep.
All right.
But it's real stuff though, so seriously, sunscreen people, I care about you.
So where are you at with games, Paul?
So around Pokemon Go, I played a little bit of Payday 2 with Logan.
Payday 2!
I still really like that game.
It's
It's
really
a good game.
It's a good game. It's a lot of fun.
Josiah actually started
There's-
playing it because we had been. He's like, I forgot how good this game is.
It's a really good game.
Like just the randomization to some of those missions, like
Right, you
keeps
can
you
do the
going
same
back and
mission
trying to
and-
figure out.
right.
Like, it keeps changing, so like you can figure out like the pattern. You know what's gonna happen next. What's gonna happen. You know what you need to do next. You don't know where you have to go for, which is cool. If I did
Right.
that, if I open this up right now, that whole lot of nothing. Oh, Brandon sent me a gift. Whole lot of nothing though. There's that one Pokestop, and if I'm not anywhere near that, there are no Pokemon. This place sucks. I mean, I love it. This is such a great area to raise kids or something.
To play
Right.
Pokemon.
Not good for Pokemon. So in addition to Payday 2, though, I played more Hollow Knight, and holy crap, that game, guys!
Yeah,
I
that's
like
gonna
it
be
a lot.
Good things about it.
that's gonna be my game after I'm finished with Xenoblade. Because you're right, man. That game's fantastic.
I found the map to the third area, and so now I gotta figure out where the boss is. I got a new skill, yeah. I'm able to dash now,
Oh, that's nice.
so I got that. That's actually like really been a game changer for me, and it helps like a lot of the game is learning patterns, especially for like the mini bosses and whatnot. Sorry, Logan.
This game has a lot of like Mega Man in it. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
And
At least that's what I've heard. At least, or maybe
I feel like you
I've seen the
keep,
gameplay. And I
in the
feel like-
tightness of the platforming, maybe. I wouldn't
I
say,
will say
any
that
other way.
like I think you keep expanding, like you keep finding skills and you keep kind of growing your repertoire.
Right.
So I guess in that vein, I could maybe see that.
I would say it's more Metroidvania, but the
Okay.
combat
Yeah.
is very tight. That might be where people are getting that too.
That's actually what I was gonna talk about. Like, I've started to encounter more like mini bosses, and they all have very like you have to learn attack patterns.
Right.
Actually, even for like the little guys, you have to learn like in the area I'm at now, they use jellyfish. And the little ones, you're safe to run up and just slice and dice. But there are these bigger ones, you hit them, and suddenly they're launching at you like a missile, like the core of them, and they have this giant explosion. And so you can try and hit them and then run and like find cover before it hits you. Chances are though, like I'm really bad at dodging them. So I started to learn how to but like there was one mini boss in particular that like he's got a shield, you run up, you hit that, then he'll go to attack. Sometimes he'll do like the first swing and he's got good reach. But he'll like lower to the ground and then he'll swing again. And so like hopefully you'll hit him, he'll do his attack. You can run in, hit him once, and then hopefully he won't attack you again. Now with the dash, what I'm able to do is dash out when he starts the attack, dash in and attack. And so I've seen a lot. I haven't quite mastered it offensively, but I know it's got a lot of potential.
I'm glad that there's a dash in the game because, like, when I was playing,
needs it.
I felt like that was kind of the missing piece of my combat repertoire because you needed a good counter move because you don't have one.
Yeah. The only downside to it so far is that it is linear, no like direction to it.
Oh, okay.
And so that threw me off a little bit. It's not as great for platforming. They still use it that way. You can still get places that you couldn't without it, but it throws me off because I want to like go at angles and I can't.
Well, that's a very deliberate design decision, and I kind of like that they're placing a limit on you.
I'm gonna guess that if there's any direction to it, it's going to be like a later expansion to your skill set.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's a big if.
Does this game have side quests? Or is it just story quests?
There is a lot of things on the side that you can choose to do or ignore. I don't know if they're necessarily like set apart like missions, but
Okay.
like, a lot of this game is discovery. You just keep exploring the area and finding, oh, hey, I didn't go here. Oh, hey, I haven't gone there.
More like Zelda, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, like, I still have to backtrack to the first 2 areas I was in because I know, like, I just got in, beat the boss, got out. And I need to fix that.
All right.
I know there's, like, one area in the first, like, space that you go in there and there's, like, this giant worm on top of this giant, like, structure.
Big worm.
And he's just crying.
Binding of
The
Isaac?
worm's just, he's just by himself crying. And you start to find these limbs in random areas, and you free them, and then they show up there, and when you walk through, they start giving you money. So there's plenty of stuff, like, outside of the main, like, beat the boss, find the next area, find the map, find the boss, find the next area. Yeah, there's plenty to do.
Okay. Yeah, because
Hollow Knight.
I remember being surprised at the 35-hour completion time.
There's a lot to it.
I dig it. All right, Logan, what do you got?
Well, in addition to Pokemon Go and Payday 2 this past week, I got the what's the word? I don't know why I keep wanting to say advantage, but that's not the right word. I got the opportunity. That's the right word. Opportunity this week to play some games that I've been wanting to play, but I haven't found many people who were free to play Borderlands 2. But thankfully,
You didn't tell me you were playing Borderlands 2, otherwise I would have been.
Dream Drop in the chat, if he's still watching. Me and him played some Borderlands 2.
I'm jelly.
And then we also played a little bit of Skullgirls, which I was kind of getting into, but I couldn't get my controller set up, and it's a fighter, and so having a controller or a fight stick would be nice for that kind of game.
Careful, Levi wants to play Borderlands with us.
He's
maybe
hurt.
We'll play a little Borderlands.
I'm pretty sure he was playing on not on PS4, but on PC, so I don't think that would work, buddy.
Right.
I lost my copy of Borderlands PlayStation 4, otherwise I would be playing.
Did you say he is or he isn't playing on PC?
I said he is playing on PC, not PS4.
But
Levi's playing on PS4.
I'm playing on PC.
oh, I thought you were talking about Levi when you said that. So I was like, wait, why is it a problem he's playing PC? No, I get you now.
Yeah, no, I have both Borderlands on the PC, both the first 2, not the pre-sequel. And I haven't finished either. But Borderlands 2 is apparently the better one, so I'm just gonna start playing that anyway.
We need to sit down and start attacking that together.
Yeah.
Friendship.
So, that's all I played a week. It was a pretty light in terms of games. I went out a lot and I walked and I played Pokemon Go, which is definitely a good thing. I could definitely. I mean, you look at me now. Look at me now. I'm pale. I'm pasty. I mean, I think that's partially the white balance, but I can assure you I'm pretty white. So
I gained a lot of color over the last couple weekends.
I got a lot of color, but it's not the fun color. It's just red.
It's just red. Matches your shirt.
So that about does it for this week's show. Still haven't quite figured out how to not have a plus 2 hour podcast, but we're getting better.
We started late.
There's shorter content.
We did start late, too.
If you want to watch something that's less than 2 hours, you can go watch some of the videos we've uploaded. And that we will be uploading constantly and forever, because that is the life that we've chosen.
Watch us throughout the week. Let's break it up. Watch a half hour here.
Sprinkle it in. You can find us on all your favorite podcasting sources. So if you're not able to sit down and, watch an entire VOD, or you can't watch it live, there's plenty of ways to listen to this show. If you give us,
or if you just want to hear our beautiful voices.
If you want to help us out, we could really use some high ratings on those podcasting sources, especially Apple Podcasts.
Just average ones. If it's lower, it doesn't help us that much. Don't feel the need.
If you're not gonna rate us a 5, don't rate us, okay? We don't have any ratings as is. If you guys give us less than a 5, that's going to reflect really, really badly. So if you want to give us a 5, go on all these podcasting services or whichever one you use, give us a 5. Give us a perfect score, a recommendation. Share us with your friends, all that other good stuff. Join our Discord and give us money on Patreon because we need it, because we're going to be a
demanding.
success, and you're going to be along for the ride. Welcome. Also,
There are some cool stuff if you go to our Patreon and support us that way. There's a lot of tasty rewards. But don't feel that you have to. We do appreciate it. It does help us out a lot. But you being here is enough.
If you are a fan of the Nintendo Stuff podcast, another podcast that we do, all dedicated to Nintendo stuff, what are we doing for that this weekend? We have we have a different setup because I'll be going up to see Paul, so I won't be here. That one might end up being a pre-recorded show. We will upload that to YouTube as well as putting that on our podcast sources. Do feel that you have to donate. Thanks, Dream Drop.
You heard it from Dream Drop.
So definitely look forward to that. Sunday night, there will be I think it's Jump Fest or Jump Carnival stream. They're going to play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Mario Tennis Aces, some kind of championship. Might stream that just to see, I also like watching Smash competition, so I'll let you know if that's going to happen. We'll let you know what's going on with Nintendo stuff. There will be an episode, just the way you receive it might be a little different this week, but we'll go back to normal the week after that.
Going back to podcasting services, tonight's episode and last Friday's Nintendo stuff go up tomorrow.
Yeah, so definitely check all of that out. This has been a great The Breakdown podcast. We had a lot to talk about. Look forward in the coming weeks. We'll be doing an episode dedicated to Shokugeki no Soma, where we will have our good old friend Rogers Base guesting on the show. We'll probably have him talk about his experience at Anime Expo that he was at over this last weekend. Nice catch there, Logue.
We'll see if it's actual catch, though.
Oh, yeah, you got it.
It's going to break out.
I mean, regardless, if you're not watching the video version, he definitely caught it.
Yeah.
It was super impressive.
I always forget. It's like,
sorry you missed
the video
it.
stuff, so I do stuff, and then nobody actually knows what's happening. So there must be some sort of disconnect on the audio-only version.
So
I feel like it's got to be a little bit fun because of that, though.
What are they laughing about?
What are these
maybe
guys?
I should go on YouTube and watch the...
YouTube.com/The Breakroom Arcade. So that's this week's episode. Make sure to join us next Monday, 7:30 p.m. Central Time, same time as always, for another episode of the Breakdown Podcast, where we'll talk about our favorite movies, TV, anime, and video games that we experienced over the last week. And with that, don't break your backs, breaking the games. But for now, break time's over. We'll see you next week.
Go away. Do something with your life.
Except watching this show.